Welcome, dear devotees, to the ongoing reading of Valmiki's Ramayana, retold by Krishna Dharma Prabhu. Today we've reached part 2, chapter 12. The search begins. Rama and Lakshman moved to the nearby Mount Prashravana and sought out a large cave close to its summit. They settled in, spending their time talking together and performing sacrifice. But Rama's mind rarely left Sita. His only consolation was to describe her qualities to Lakshman. He longed for the rainy season to end so that he could search for his beloved wife. Gradually, the rain subsided. The sky cleared, and the resonant cries of cranes filled the air. Although the monsoons were over, however, Sugriva still did not prepare his army to search for Sita. Realizing this, Rama discussed the situation with Rama. Realizing this, Rama discussed the situation with Lakshman. It seems the Vanara king has forgotten his debt to us, noble brother. Why have his messengers not arrived here with news of their search? O Lakshman, I fear that the gentle Sita is lost forever. What is she doing now? Surely her mind dwells on me, even as mine never leaves her. Surely she weeps in agony, even as I weep here. Rama's grief was as strong as it had been when Sita was abducted 4 months ago. Rama felt powerless. He was still no closer to finding Sita than the day she was kidnapped. And now Sugriva, upon whom his hopes were resting, was letting him down. Rama sat distracted by sorrow. Lakshman reassured him. This is not the time to grieve, dear brother. We must strenuously exert ourselves to find Sita. With you as her protector, no one can hold the princess for long. Compose yourself, Rama. Let us do what must be done. Rama sighed and looked around. On a plateau beneath his cave, a large pond had been formed by the rains. Swans and cranes sported joyfully in the water among clusters of white and red lotuses. Rama could hear the croaks of frogs and the cries of peacocks. In the distance, he heard the trumpeting sound of elephants en route. Large black bees droned around the bright forest flowers, intoxicated with nectar. The sky was a deep blue, and the wind, which had blown fiercely during the monsoons, had become a gentle breeze. The sights and sounds of autumn were visible everywhere. Rama was reflective. Where was Sugriva? Had he forgotten his promise, now that his own problem had been solved? How could he be so ungrateful? Rama's brow furrowed with anger, and he turned to Lakshman. These past 4 months have seemed like 100 years for me. I have longed for the end of the rains, O Lakshman, so that we might find Sita, as we agreed with Sugriva. Although I have rendered him a great favor, the evil-minded monkey king obviously holds me in contempt. Seeing me forlorn and deprived of my kingdom, living helplessly like an ascetic in the forest, the wicked fellow entirely disregards me. Rama told Lakshman to go to Kishkinda. He should tell Sugriva that there is no viler being than one who is ungrateful. Had he forgotten the favor Rama had done for him and the promise he had made in return? Did he wish to again see Rama's golden bow drawn to its full length? Did he wish to again see Rama's golden bow drawn to its full length? Did he desire to see Rama angry on the battlefield? Did he long to hear again the crash of Rama's bowstring, sounding like so many claps of thunder? It was strange that Sugriva seemed to have forgotten how Bali was slain by a single arrow from Rama, although Sugriva himself could never overcome his brother. Rama's eyes were crimson with anger as he spoke. It is clear that Sugriva is lost in sensual pleasures, having regained his kingdom after a long time. Drunk and surrounded by women, he has all but forgotten his pledged word to me. Tell him, my brother, O brother. Tell him, O brother, that the path taken by Vali still lies open. Along with all his kinsmen, Sugriva may proceed along that path if he does not care for his promise. He should take heed of this warning, otherwise he will meet again soon with Bali. Lakshman himself became furious as he listened to Rama. He told Rama that he would go immediately to Kishkinda. With upraised weapons, he would dispatch Sugriva to death's abode. Clearly, the licentious and unvirtuous Sugriva was not fit to rule a kingdom. Angada should be installed as king, and he should organize the search for Sita. Sugriva should be punished without delay. Lakshman stood up and reached for his weapons. Rama, whose anger had already begun to subside, then checked his brother. I think it not fitting that you kill Sugriva. Try at first to pursue a gentler path. Remind him of our friendship and his promise. O Lakshman, do not use harsh words immediately. After all, Sugriva is but a monkey. Perhaps you can awaken him to a sense of his duty by conciliatory speech. Lakshman bowed in assent to Rama's words, although he could not subdue his anger. He left the cave and began running toward Kishkinda, thinking of what he would say to Sugriva. He could not disobey Rama's order, but he would not tolerate any resistance from Sugriva. If that lazy monkey did not immediately set about his duty, he would be sorry. How dare he be so negligent of his promise to Rama? Who did he think he was? Lakshman bit his lips in fury as he bounded down the mountainside. In the city of Kishkinda, Hanuman had also noticed the season change and Sugriva not stirring. The intelligent minister thought carefully about the situation. Rama would certainly take stern action if Sugriva failed to fulfill his pledge. Hanuman approached the Vanara king, who was absorbed in sensuality, and spoke to him in a friendly and pleasing manner. You have regained sovereignty, fame, and prosperity, O Sugriva. It now remains for you to win the goodwill of your allies. The dominion, fame, and glory of a king who acts well toward his allies will always grow. That king who regards equally his exchequer, his army, his allies, and his own self will gain a great kingdom. However, he who fails to take care of any one of these meets with disaster. Hanuman then reminded Sugriva of his promise to Rama. The time had arrived to begin the search for Sita. The king should immediately send out monkeys in all directions. Rama should not need to ask. It would be shameful if Sugriva did not act quickly to repay a debt to his friend and ally. Sugriva thanked Hanuman for his wise and timely advice. The Monkey King realized his laxity, and he immediately summoned his ministers and counselors. He issued orders, let all the Vanara generals be quickly assembled. Swift-footed and energetic monkeys are needed. 10,000 of my army should immediately depart for every country where the Vanaras dwell. Have them fetch the very best of the monkey warriors here to Kishkinda. Anyone sent out and failing to return within 15 days should be executed. Ordering Hanuman and Angada to organize the army, Sugriva again retired to his rooms. Within a few days, the monkey hordes began to assemble outside the city. Monkeys resembling elephants, mountains, and clouds gathered together. Those powerful Vanaras were like mighty tigers and were all heroic. They were dark and terrible, and they made one's hair stand erect just to see them. Some were as strong as 100 elephants, some 10 times stronger than that, and others 10 times stronger again. They stood awaiting Sugriva's orders. As the monkeys milled about in their tens of thousands outside Kishkinda, they noticed Lakshman approaching in the distance. When they saw the prince running toward the city, his face glowing with anger and his bow grasped tightly, they became fearful. Some of them, not recognizing him, lifted up trees and boulders, ready to defend Kishkinda. Others ran in all directions as Lakshman arrived near the city gates, holding aloft his bow and calling for Sugriva. Seeing the monkeys prepared to attack him, Lakshman became even more angry. He heaved deep in burning sighs and licked the corners of his mouth. Angada quickly came out of the city, and checking the monkeys from fleeing, went before Lakshman, Rama's brother. Rama's brother appeared to the monkey prince like a blazing fire of universal destruction. In great fear, he bowed low at Lakshman's feet and greeted him respectfully. Although furious, Lakshman contained his anger and spoke kindly to Angada. "Pray tell Sugriva of my arrival, dear child. I stand here tormented by grief due to Rama's plight. Please ask the king to hear from me Rama's advice." Angada bowed again and left swiftly, running to Sugriva. He burst into his chambers and told him to come quickly. But Sugriva was asleep, groggy from the night's pleasures. He lay upon his bed with only garlands as his dress. As he slowly stirred, many more monkeys came near his room, raising a great clamor. They were terrified of the wrathful Lakshman. Sugriva heard the tumult and came to his senses. He stood up, troubled in mind, and Angada explained the situation. Sugriva told Angada to bring Lakshman immediately. "Why have you left him standing at the gates?" he demanded. "He should be offered every respect, even as much as myself." Angada, joined by Hanuman, quickly left to fetch Lakshman. Within a few minutes, Lakshman was led into Kishkinda. By Angada and Hanuman. Still fuming, the prince surveyed the city. Great mansions and temples lined the wide avenues, each building set with celestial jewels of every description. The city was illuminated by the jewels' glow. Rivulets flowed by the avenues, and groves of trees grew here and there, yielding all kinds of delightful fruits. As he went along the main highway, Lakshman saw the large white palaces of the chief monkeys. They shone like clouds lit by the sun. Long wreaths of flowers hung from those palaces, and the scent of aloe and sandalwood issued from the latticed windows. Lakshman was led into Sugriva's palace, the most magnificent of all. After passing through 7 heavily guarded gates, he entered Sugriva's inner chambers. Here and there were numerous gold and silver couches, spread with costly silk covers. Many beautiful Vanara ladies, wearing garlands and gold ornaments, moved about, their anklets tinkling as they reached Sugriva's private chambers. Lakshman heard the strains of celestial music from within. He became even more annoyed with Sugriva. The insolent monkey was reveling while Rama suffered agony. Lakshman twanged his bowstring, and the sound reverberated throughout the entire palace. Sugriva was startled. Realizing at once that Lakshman had arrived, he spoke urgently to Tara, who sat by his side. "Go quickly and greet Lakshman. He will never display anger in the presence of a woman. Pacify him with gentle words. Only then will I be able to face him." Tara rose up and went out of the room. The gold string of her girdle hung loose, and she tottered slightly from intoxication. Bending her slender body low, she covered her head with her cloth and respectfully greeted Lakshman. As soon as he saw Tara, Lakshman looked down modestly. His anger abated as Tara spoke gently. "My lord, what gives rise to your angry mood? Who has disobeyed your order? Who has recklessly gone before a forest fire while it rushed toward a thicket of dried trees?" Still annoyed, Lakshman replied, "This husband of yours appears to have forgotten his duty. He seems intent only on pursuing pleasures. 4 months have already passed since Rama left, and we still see no signs of Sugriva keeping his word. He remains drunk here, enjoying with you and unaware of the passage of time. O Tara, drinking is always condemned by the wise as the root of irreligion. Please remind Sugriva of his religious obligation." Tara begged Lakshman to forgive Sugriva. After all, he was but a monkey. It was no surprise he had fallen a victim to lust. Even great sages in the forest were sometimes overcome by desire. What then of a monkey living among beautiful women? One under the sway of carnal desire loses all sense of time and place. Forgetting his duty, he casts decorum to the winds and absorbs himself in pleasure. Tara told Lakshman that Sugriva was regretful. He was always Rama's devoted servant, and he longed to fulfill Rama's order. Even now, he was waiting eagerly to speak with Lakshman. Tara led Lakshman into Sugriva's chamber. As the prince entered the apartment, he saw Sugriva seated on a golden couch next to his wife, Ruma. She was surrounded by youthful Vanara ladies, adored with shining jewels and heavenly garlands. His eyes were bloodshot, and his limbs were smeared with sandal paste. Sugriva's costly silk garment hung loose on his powerful body, and Bali's brilliant gold chain shone from his chest. Seeing Sugriva absorbed in sensual delights, Lakshman's anger was rekindled. His eyes opened wide, and his lips set in a firm line. The furious prince breathed heavily and wrung his hands, looking with blood-red eyes at Sugriva. The Monkey King jumped from his couch, like a tall flag suddenly raised in honor of Indra. He went before Lakshman with folded palms and bowed at his feet. Lakshman addressed him in an angry tones. "Who is more hard-hearted than he who makes a false promise to a friend, especially when that friend has done him a great favor? O Lord of the monkeys, one who ungratefully fails to repay the service of friends deserves to be killed." Lakshman quite forgot Rama's request to first speak kindly to Sugriva. He glared at him. This selfish monkey deserved no piety. He lay here at ease while Rama was pining away. Lakshman vented his fury, his voice thundering about Sugriva's spacious chamber. "Ingratitude is the worst of all sins, O thoughtless one. You are lustful and a liar. You have achieved your own ends, made some empty promise, and then simply abandon yourself to pleasure. Surely you will regret your omission when Rama's blazing arrow speeds toward you. Before long you will meet with Bali again." Tara again beseeched Lakshman to be patient. Sugriva was an ordinary being, subject to the sway of his senses. No one could easily avert the strong urges of the body. Even the great Vishwamrita had once lost himself in sexual pleasure, for 100 years, thinking it to be a day. Sugriva had now been awakened to his duty. He had taken action and sent out many monkeys to raise an army to find Sita. Tara spoke passionately to the angry Lakshman. Bali told me there are 100 million powerful Rakshasas in Lanka. These must be overcome if Ravana is to be defeated. Therefore Sugriva is now amassing a force sufficient to encounter all the Rakshasas. The army will be ready within some days. Do not be angry. The search for Sita will soon begin. Lakshman was pacified when he heard that Sugriva had already made arrangements. He nodded his head and relaxed. Seeing Lakshman relaxing, Sugriva said, "Everything I have depends upon Rama. How can I ever repay him? Rama alone is powerful enough to recover Sita and is merely using me as his instrument. This again is his kindness on me. I only wish to serve him in whatever way I can. Please forgive any transgression on my part, for there is no servant who is without fault." Lakshman began to feel ashamed of his angry outburst. He spoke kindly to Sugriva. "With you as his supporter, my brother is blessed in every way, O gallant monkey. I feel sure he will soon destroy his enemy with your assistance. Please forgive my harsh words, for I am sorely afflicted by my brother's plight." Lakshman asked Sugriva to come with him to see Rama. Sugriva immediately had a large palanquin fetched, and he mounted it along with Lakshman. Accompanied by Sugriva's ministers, they departed toward Prashavana. The golden palanquin, covered by a white canopy, was carried swiftly toward the mountain where Rama waited. Conchas and kettle drums were sounded as the procession of monkeys moved in state. Sugriva was surrounded by many warlike monkeys bearing weapons in their hands. He was fanned on both sides by his servants and eulogized by bards as they traveled. As they soon arrived at Rama's cave, Sugriva jumped from the palanquin and prostrated himself at Rama's feet, who lifted the monkey and embraced him with love. Rama seated Sugriva on the ground and sitting next to him, spoke in a gentle voice, "O wise king, a wise king is he who pursues in their proper order religion, wealth, and pleasure, allotting proper time to each. He who pursues only pleasure, neglecting the other two, wakes up after falling like one asleep on a treetop. The king who wins pious allies and destroys sinful foes gains great religious merit. O Sugriva, the time has come for you to make an effort for merit. What then has been done, O king?" Sugriva replied that he was ever indebted to Rama for his kindness and favor. The Vanara king explained how he had dispatched thousands of monkeys to gather an army. Soon there would be millions of fierce monkeys, bears, and baboons gathering at Kishkinda. All of them were sprung from the loins of gods and Gandharvas, and all were terrible warriors, capable of changing their forms at will. Sugriva would have at his command a vast army, countless in number. They would quickly find Ravana, completely uproot him, and recover Sita. Rama was delighted, and he looked like a blue lotus in full bloom. He embraced Sugriva tightly. It was no surprise that one of your caliber renders such good to his friends. With you by my side, I shall easily conquer my enemies. O Sugriva, you are my greatest well-wisher and are fit to help me in every way. Rama and Sugriva discussed for some time, planning how to make their search. Sugriva then left to meet with his emissaries, who were returning with the troops they had gathered. As millions of fierce monkey warriors came to Kishkinda, The earth vibrated. A massive dust cloud rose up and veiled the sun. The trees shook, sending down showers of leaves and blossoms. The entire region for miles around became thickly populated by monkeys who looked like mountains. Some were golden-hued, like the rising sun. Some were as red as copper, and some blue as the sky. Others were as white as the moon, and still others as blackish as thunder clouds. All of them, like great mountain lions, had frightening teeth and claws. The troop leaders approached Sugriva and asked for his command. Sugriva took all of them and went again into Rama's presence. One by one, he introduced the Vanara chiefs, and they all bowed low at Rama's feet. Sugriva concluded, "These warriors are righteous, brave, and powerful. They can move on land, water, and through the air. They have conquered fatigue and are famous for their exploits. All of them have arrived bringing thousands and millions of followers. O Rama, these Vanaras are ready to do your bidding. Please, give your command." Rama stood up and embraced Sugriva. "It must be ascertained whether or not Sita still lives, O noble one. Find out where Ravana's land is located. Once we have this information, we shall then do what is necessary." Sugriva then assigned 4 parties to search the 4 directions. He gave detailed descriptions of the countries where they should look, and then added, "This search should be conducted only over the next month. Then you should return. Anyone returning after a month will be subject to death." Rama and his great purpose should be constantly remembered by all of you. May success be yours. Sugriva had asked Hanuman to assist Angada in leading the search party to the south. This was the direction where Ravana would most likely be found, as he had been seen flying that way with Sita. Sugriva spoke with Hanuman just before he left. "There is nothing on earth or in the heavens that can obstruct your movement. O valiant son of the wind god, you are no less than your great father in prowess. There is no created being on earth equal to you in strength and vigor. On you rests my main hope of finding Sita." Rama heard Sugriva speaking with Hanuman, and he saw his eager expression. It was clear he was confident of success, as much as Sugriva was sure that his minister would find Sita. Rama was overjoyed. He went to Hanuman and gave the monkey a ring inscribed with his name. Take this token, O jewel among monkeys, and show it to Sita. This will reassure her that I sent you. I feel sure you will soon see the princess." Hanuman took the ring and touched it to his head. He prostrated himself at Rama's feet and prayed for his blessings. Then, looking like the full moon, surrounded by a galaxy of stars, he left with his party. The Vanaras and bears all left with great haste, shouting and howling, thundering and roaring, growling and shrieking. They ran in the 4 directions. The monkey chiefs cried out in different ways, "I shall destroy Ravana and bring back Sita. Single-handed, I shall kill that demon and rescue Janaka's daughter, even from the fires of hell. I shall smash down trees, cleave great mountains, and churn up the oceans. I will certainly find the princess."